Another video and stream. Today we're going to be continuing our adventure on, please load, there we go, Feed the Beast, Sky Factory 3. Got a little bit of stuff to do in this stream, so let's just go ahead and just jump right on into it. So if you guys didn't see in the last stream, we got animals, upgraded the cobblestone generator, and even started the wheat farm here. And I'm gonna be honest, please don't be mad, I did make a tiny bit of offline progress. I know I don't do that often, but what I did was just added an extra chicken coop, because I got a flint chicken while off camera, so I was like, oh, alright, I'm gonna try to get this. So, got it, and then I was like, alright, sweet, so now I can get free flint. And I also got the bone white chicken, pretty sure you guys saw that. And then I also got sand and just regular chicken. I don't think I have gotten any new chickens in yet. I think everything else here is still the same stuff. Got a lot of pigs, so that's definitely really nice. And I figured out, the second thing is that I figured out how to make a whole bunch of just free food and whatnot. And it all requires biomass. Because the fertilizer stuff, this stuff, I found out when used on this, it acts as bone meal. And when it takes four of these guys to make 8 of these, like look, I already made 8. And I only used, what, 8? And I misclicked one, so. At a good return rate, look, there's another 8. At a good return rate, I can get a whole bunch of fertilizer down, get a huge amount of carrots, because carrots and potatoes are actually the best to use when it comes to making biomesh. And look at that. One stack made a stack and a half. It is insane how much that works. And I also did a little bit of fixing over here. So now, instead of this lever turning off the water, it instead turns off the machine. So right now, it is not doing anything. As soon as I flick it, it starts to push. And I can actually, you know, go back to doing this. Flick it and it stops, and it doesn't break the machine. Which is really nice. And with that, I managed to get a ton of gravel. You can also probably tell that the fact that the durability on this is shredded. So, got a lot of these to go through, but yeah. So yeah, that's all the offline stuff that I did while I was preparing for the next video. But yeah. And this, I'm actually gonna try to get a cow spawn because I actually still need milk. And since these can capture animals and hold them, I'm actually gonna set up a chest over there filled with animal nets, and that way I can just, you know, have all the animals in here for whenever I need them. However, it's going to take a lot, but they are very cheap to make, so it won't be that big of a problem. Just going to need some wood. And I know that there was a recent update that came out for Minecraft. The Tiny Takeover, I believe it's called. Which I have taken a look. The baby animals on it are extremely cute, but I also took, and when I found out about the sulfur caves, I'm gonna be honest, kinda wasn't really expecting them to add another cave biome. I know I think the last time they added a cave biome was the Deep Dark, back in what, 22 I think, 23, somewhere around there. So I wasn't really expecting to add another cave biome. So that was a little strange for me. I do like the sulfur cube. Although, other than putting a block in it and punching it around, I don't really see its purpose. Maybe it'll have a purpose later on, but as of right now, I'm just not really entertained by it, if that's the best way to put by it. Since I'm not really one for it, maybe it's just something that I have to get used to and just accept the fact that it's in the game, but to me, it's not really something that I was interested in. But at the same time, I don't know what I would be interested in. I've been playing a lot of the older Minecraft stuff recently. In fact, I want to say that, like, the oldest Minecraft stuff I've played, or like the newest Minecraft stuff, was like, is still 1.20. Alright. I also got this. Alright, many good stuff. I guess this could be useful for something. But anyway. I'm just not really fascinated or intrigued by the new stuff. Maybe that's just because, you know, started playing the game way back in beta, so it's probably just me being, what is it now? What's the word? Is that it? I don't tend to try to keep up with everything going on. But oh well. Oh, uncommon. Hey! Wasn't this stuff needed for something? I'm pretty sure it was. Basic coil, could this be used for drill core, drill mining, maintenance coil, drill block placing augment? Pretty sure that is useful for something. Crusher! I think that's what it was useful for. Maybe not. There was some sort of use, I remember. This was like a holding us back. I want to say it had something to do with this. Is there auto breaker? Maybe this was it? Furnace, automatic feeder, crusher. I think it was the item crusher, to be honest. Or not the item crusher, just this. Dust. Not sure what dust could be used for. Let's see. Dust. Look up the X Nephilia. I know it was a dust, which is If it look like iron or dust. It just straight up does not exist. Okay, that's a little weird. Oh well. No, I do need food, so. Alright, gotta use a stack on the carrots and that way I get return. And actually, it would probably be better to do it on potatoes and cook them up. To be honest. So I'm gonna grab one of these to use as well. And this. And then here, that in there, and I guess these two places potatoes. Oh, okay, good. They can be thrown in there. That's good. This. More of the biomesh and cook that up, and I shouldn't need to worry about food anymore. Hopefully. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and throw these crystals into here since that is going to be very useful. I'm gonna throw that there. And then go ahead. And I'll put that in there. Chicken manure can also be put in here, which is nice. Or bone meal. It's weird that it can be used as bone meal as well. Yeah, that's just me, but oh well. Alright. Compressed zombie, what does that mean? Oh! That's what it means. I thought I said compressed, and I decided to hit with the compressed hammer. There are a lot of zombies in here. Okay. There we go. Well, that's cool. Got a lot of extra flesh now. Even though it's technically not necessary. But oh well. We'll roll with it. Throw that in there. Alright. Oh yeah, I still got that toast. That's right. I completely forgot that I still had that toast. What's this gonna be used for? Oh yeah, it's gonna be used for one of these things. That's right. But I still gotta figure out that whole system. Which will definitely take a while, so that's fine. Go ahead and throw some stuff back into here. Gold I'll just put in there, I guess. And the enriched iron there. Alright. There we go. Fertilizer. Gotta go ahead and do some more of the carrots. And I should also make an automatic thing for the carrots. So now I don't have to worry about constantly making those stuff. Or constantly having to run back and forth. Which actually won't be that big of an issue. I just need 21 cobblestone from here. 9 string from here. A little bit of this. This. 3 pieces of redstone. I have 2. So I'm gonna need more redstone or else it's just droppers. Which means that I gotta go ahead and smash apart some dust. 3 of those, because I think this only has enough to do it 3 times. A little bit to get to there. And a little bit to get it to here. Aw, I always forget about that. Am I able to do this? Okay, it does not work like that, so I gotta break that down, place down all the pieces, and then go ahead and do this. Alright. Now that I got dust, actually I swap these two. Actually, I put that back in and just craft the dust down. Do 3 of the compress. Alright, definitely got it, but I'm gonna do the last one. Nothing. Alright. Well, that's fine. Because there we go. Got the 3 pieces. So now I can go here. Actually, this goes here. All this goes around. Drop, or dispenser, dispenser, and dispenser. And I just realized I still need to do a little bit more. But that's fine, because I'll just do a little bit of this. To get a little bit more of the carrots. Oh, that gave me exactly 2 seconds. Alright. Sorry about that. My cats decided to jump into my computer, bounce off, and hit the floor. They're fine. They're both fine. Anyway. I did say I was going to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and start that as well. Oh, furnace is done, so... Oh, that's probably been done for a while, though. Now I no longer will have to worry about food. Which is really, really good. Alright. So I need to make some of this. Okay, good. It does actually stack to 16. Alright, so this is 21. I have 22, so I need another 5. 3, 4, 5. There we go. Alright. Now I can get these current animals out of here. Those are the ones I want to keep. Alright. I already have a sand chicken. I already have a regular chicken. I do not have a rooster, so I'm gonna grab that as well. Throw that in there. Alright. There we go. So now all those are empty, so now oh, that's another 24 of those. Now I'm gonna go ahead and throw it into this. Can this go in here? It cannot. Okay. So once it becomes the jerky, it cannot go in. That's interesting. But oh well. Oh. Is that just a regular chicken? It is. It'll grow up in 20 minutes, and then I will kill it. Alright. 3 more dirt, that's good. Throw in this chest over here. Alright. String can go back in there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the extra nets I have into here. Alright. Yep, there's exactly 27 in there. Alright. Now I need a lot more of the smashed up dust so I can get some more redstone. But I also need to do this. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I just gotta drag each and every one into the thing. The compressed stone hammer. Now I can break more stuff. This do just fine. Alright. And we craft it back down. And repeat one more time. And another thing that I've been doing a lot of is actually the Pokemon Nuzlocking. Started to do a little bit of that on the not fire, but leaf green on the Switch, so that's been pretty fun. I've gone all the way to the Silph Co without a single feint in the party, and while clearing out the entire place, my Nidoqueen unfortunately had to fall. But the reasoning was because I had my Gyarados out against Electrode, which water flying against electric, if you're not aware, is not a very good idea. So thinking I was gonna do some sort of electric move, I swapped into Nidoqueen, who since she's ground, can actually take the attack. What I failed to realize was that instead of it using an electric type move like I thought I was going to, like Thunder Shock, Spark, any of those, Instead, it went for self-destruct, which normally won't kill my Nidoqueen. She's actually survived on a lot of HP against that kind of move, so I thought, oh, she'll be fine. This will be easy. She, in fact, was not fine and got critted. So pretty much anyone I sent out would have fallen. But I swapped to the one that I thought was safest, and even then, she was not safe. And I suffered my very first loss in the Nuzlocke. So that was not very fun at all.
Take it easy. 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 Take it easy.
I'm not gonna take it easy. Excuse you, creeper. Please fall. Alright. I forgot that pops up and stays on screen for a little bit. The biomass splash text I use over here. Alright. Do 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 do. Just gotta wait for one more. There we go. Oh, I gotta make another 2. So now I can do this. And I got 2. Alright. Now I'm thinking I should have this like set up back over here. So I'm going to grab my oak stuff so that I can expand that way just a tiny little bit. This should do. So I don't need that much expansion in that direction. In fact, I can actually grab. I'm gonna grab this block right here. Never mind. I'm gonna go back and make some more oak slabs. And I actually need water. Piece of it as well. Actually. Oh, wow. Alright. Start. Okay. I'll have that be the little dirt block. So I'll have this water here. These 3 dispensers facing in. These 3 redstone bits. Actually, I need this water, so it's here instead. So I can have the redstone clock going around it. That. I know it's not exactly enough, but it's close enough. Alright. And now make a lever. One here, and there we go. So from back here you can't hear it, but from this block you can hear it. Alright. So there's a setting I can do. Maybe I turn blocks down to 50. I mean, that does make it a whole lot quieter. But that's still gonna be pretty annoying. So if I turn down to 20% instead. Still hear clicking from here, but I want to at least meet it to here. This block. So maybe if I turn it down to 5, maybe 10. 10 is pretty quiet. You can barely hear from here, so 5's gonna be the sweet spot most likely. You can't really hear until you start walking into the farmland. It's like even here, can't hear. But it might be better if I just do that. Go over here till. Alright. Sweet. So since that's gonna work how it should. Just need a singular. Not that one. This one. That's fine, that will do. Just put that there. I'm gonna break that for now because I want to grab this over here. Once this is actually done, it can take a little bit. It doesn't have to be a full stack in there. Seems like blocks just completely turns off. Like chest opening, furnacing, trapdoors, all that. I'm breaking sugarcane, so small price, but it's gonna tune out the tick 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 while I'm still redstone poor. Alright. And then I can go over here. Throw that in. Throw that in. Throw that in. Place the carrot. And oh boy, this thing can just go. Oh my. Alright, that's already out. That's already out. That's the only one left, so. Tell when it slows down a lot. And then when it runs out. But that is a lot of carrots. Alright. 2 iron and a flint to make that, because this is gonna die again. I'm actually gonna grab all that and then go over here, grab a flint. Come back, do this. And make this, it's a stick and a leather. It's a leather. I don't know if I have very much leather left. Unfortunately. I don't know if any other animals are going to spawn in there. Or if the cap has been reached. Although it did take a while for animals to actually start spawning in there, so. Is there a way I can go? I need to breed a string chicken and a cocoa brown chicken to get a leather chicken. And I need to breed an ink black chicken and a log chicken. And a red chicken and a cactus green chicken. Which those require crafting. This one can't be bred and this one can't be bred. So I have to craft 4 chickens in order to get infinite leather. Okay. Well, that's gonna be pretty interesting. I guess. But alright. Well, I guess it's chicken crafting time. Alright, so to get the leather chicken, I need to breed 2 other chickens. So I'm gonna start with string, so I need ink black and log. 8 wood around an egg can produce a single one. So this might take a lot of attempts. So I don't have either of those 2, and I don't have either of these 2. Will any chicken work? Wait. Oh, I could craft them down to just regular eggs. Okay, that makes it a little bit easier. So, anytime I get a success, I can just craft it down. So this, log chicken. Alright, let's see. Can I get 1? Oh! Oh. But now the problem is I have 8 of them. Alright, well. I guess I gotta wait for more eggs. I didn't realize that they were... I know what the item looked like, but I didn't really connect the fact that it's a spawn egg. I mean, I guess I could craft more of those. But at the same time, it's gonna be a little hard for me to make more fertilizer. So I guess now it's all gonna be used towards breeding up for the next chicken. So I gotta make sure that the uses count. Otherwise, that's not good. It's a bat. Alright. So I'll just keep that on the offhand, so that way I can always just eat. Alright. Nope. And then empty one of these. Scoop and mix. Anyone got the spare egg? Alright, there's spare egg there, there's spare egg there. Alright. Now I can make more chickens. Alright. Ink black. This one requires throwing. Alright. Do I have any ink sacks? Oh, this is gonna be ironic, isn't it? I gotta go make a squid farm now. Oh, lost one, but that's fine. Alright. Now I gotta wait for all that to go. And while I wait for all that to go, I guess I could craft other eggs in the meantime. Alright. So I need to craft this green and red. So red might be the easiest one to do. Alright. Let's go see if I can get some red. Oh, you grew up. How dare you be in the flower fence? Alright, throw those in there. Oop. Got one red. Orange. What are all these seeds? Source of all string and wool. I doubt that. How did you get up there? Alright. Well, we got one. So I can just make red dye. Oh yeah, I forgot beetroot to make that. Red chicken can lay red dye. And I think I have to keep doing this until I get the red chicken. And too bad I can't get the rose bush, because that would be so easy. You know, an alchemy catalyst, a lilac, and a mana pool to get a rose bush. To get this, I need a sunflower. To get that, I need an oxide daisy, which I do have. But the fact that it's going to take 3 cycles to get to the rose bush. How did I even make a mana pool? Living rock requires a pure daisy. Requires mystical white petals. Requires mystical white flower. Requires this. Requires this. Requires this. Which is just an endless cycle, so I don't think I can even get this. No, it even requires this. But to get this. Yeah, so. Y'all can drop wood. Alright. Cool, I guess. I'm gonna throw the extra wood I have in here. But there's gotta be a faster way to get red dye. I'm mean, I guess, do I have beetroot? Yeah, I don't really want to do it, but might have to just spend the beetroot. I don't think I have anything beetroot related, so. But that's fine. I have a 10% chance to get it from dirt when I use a flint stiffened mesh. Okay. Oh no. Okay, that's gonna be a slight problem. Did get a common loot bag, which nothing good, nothing useful. Actually, what am I doing? I have a bow somewhere. I can just shoot them. Oh, I think I used the bow on something. I need to make a dispenser at 1 point. No, it's in here. Alright. I need to clean this inventory because that is a lot of just random stuff. Right. Put that in there for now. Sand will go in the sand area. A little bit of food stuff, so I'll just put that in here. Mob dropping in there. There we go. Place. And, ooh, we got 2 reds. That's nice. Go, got some more plain eggs. Those 2 don't go in there. Oh, got another red. Am I able to... Nope. But that would have been cool if I could just roll meal and it become a giant one. There's probably a mod for that out there somewhere. Alright. Anything useful? Nope. Alright, I'm gonna go. Oh, okay. That's done. Now I'm gonna get a lot more squids. gonna be really, really funny. And the rain has stopped. Cool. Actually, I'm gonna throw one of them. There we go. Throw the wool in there. Sand. And I only have enough for half of a red. So it takes 8 of these. Or one of these is 8%, so that's going to take a lot. Yeah, 13 of them. Just crazy that's going to take that many. Alright. Let me... Oh, we got more of the animal spawning. So yeah, that is good. See that we can get more of the animals. Alright, squids are starting. We might be able to do the black one first. I think I was throwing out all these so I could have had stacks of ink black chicken eggs. Dang. Nothing yet. But with how fast that one's most likely going to be going, I'm not expecting it to take that long. No, chicken manure can also be used for this. So, that's at least good. I think I might spend the carrots on this so I get some more dirt. So I can speed up the red. Because the faster the red goes, the better. It just costs a lot of these, so I didn't really want to do it at first. I know I could also use other materials, but it's fine. Alright, I already got roosters, so actually, I need to get rid of them. Alright, what could this be used for? Oh, I could compost it. Oh! That's actually pretty good value. I need one more piece of dirt, so now I can just craft it down. Alright. Run up here, grab the... That's not gonna be enough flint. I already know that's not enough flint. But I know what I can do for a little bit. Because I can craft flint, so this will be good. That'll be enough. I'm gonna do this. Ah. Got the recipe slightly wrong, but that's fine. No, I already spare one. But there we go. Got the flint stiffened mesh. I already have one in there. Whoopsies. Yeah, all these spare hammers are just gonna be used to make new hammers. But there we go. This should be done. And I can make press and hopefully. Oh wow. Okay, lot of seeds. Lot of pebbles as well, so. Grass, carrot, coffee, rice, pumpkin. Got the beetroot. It's all that mattered. I also got a lot of pebbles. I don't want these pebbles, but I will take these. We'll take extra cobblestone. Alright, red dye is now going to be so much easier to get. I'm really glad I decided to do that. I'll just use chicken manure, to be honest. Got 11 of them already. And the bone white chicken also gets this, which is really nice. I don't need another one of those. But we'll take all this down here, though. All this is good. Alright. Slowly got a plan coming together. And unfortunately, this has the same return rate as wheat, so it'll still be very slow, but much faster than the way that I was doing it before. Just gonna go ahead and heal with food. And use all of the bone meal on this. Another 7. There's one attempt at a red chicken. While this is another 5. So I don't need both of these, and I think I also need the green one. Cactus green. How am I gonna get cactus? That's actually... Now that I think about it, that's actually a really good question. Cactus. I'll just want to get this. Sagrado cactus and a regular cactus. Crusher green stuff has a 5% chance. But I don't have any green stuff. Plant clippings and trimmings along with a slime ball can give me 2, and the alloy smelter, which is quite expensive, so. And this requires a mana pool, which I can't get, and I do not know how to get this. So, it looks like this is going to be the roadblock. How do I get this if I can't get this? I don't know. That's gonna be a problem, to be honest. But, oh well. Black? Alright, got the ink black chicken, that's good. Red? Oh, let's go. Okay, I don't need to do anything more with the other stuff now. Because now I got the black, and I got the red. The last roadblock is green. Right? Pretty sure the last roadblock is green. To get the leather. Red and cactus green. Cactus green, which is this, and I mean, I guess I have a small chance to get it from a lucky egg drop, but again, That is only the chance at it. So it would actually be better for me to get the block somehow. Unless there's like some sort of cactus seed that I can get. Which I kinda doubt. Seeds, cotton seeds, yellow orium seeds, quartz enriched. Actually, why don't I just go into sand and see if I can sift for it? Oh! Alright, string mess has a 1% chance. Flint has a 6. Alright. Sand on flint. I got a 6% chance. We're gonna capitalize on that 6% and get the seed. Alright. Best in flint, so let's go. I may not have the inventory for this, so let me just go ahead and throw the seeds in there. Sugarcane seed. I'm gonna throw the ink sacks into here. Guess still that. Birch sapling, I'll throw in this chest over here along with this. These two belong over here. String on me as well, so I'll throw it in the only place where string ever even exists. Alright. That's everything, so 6% chance. 81 pieces, I should have gotten it with this. If not, then I just really hit bad luck. Ah, 7 of them. Nice. And a lot of faces. But, cactus seed. Got what I want. Then I'm going to take the regular sand. I need an area for this. For now, this will be the temporary area. There we go. Alright. So, shifting on it won't grow it. Am I able to, like, is there a mod that I can, like, bone meal or something? Nope. Alright. Does it require actual bone meal, though? No. Alright, well. That was an attempt. That unfortunately did not work, but that is fine because I already made a huge amount of progress with everything else. Now I guess since now I can farm oak stuff, that's... I really should just move all these guys to another, like, collecting area and have hopper minecarts going around collecting everything, sending them into a chest for me to collect later. But oh well. I almost have enough for the next pen too. And I messed it up already, so that's fine. These guys have plenty of stuff. So it is not a problem for me to get more. Alright. So now that I got that, I am gonna need some wood. I do not know if the woods can mix. Time to find out. After I make that, then try to mix them. Okay, it does work. Cool. So now I can throw this in here. And honestly, I already got a wood chicken in here, so. I don't need all these guys out here. I do need to keep one for breeding. There we go. Shove all these guys down. No. It's not really alphabetical, but oh well. It tried. How are we looking down here? A lot more blacking sacks. That it's not really going to be doing much for me anymore, so goodbye. And I can also use extra carrots on this to get more of the other stuff as well. Ooh, come on, look back. It has a boiled egg. Uses food, compost, and a culinary generator. Might as well eat it. Alright. Now it is getting a little bit closer for everything to be finished with the leather generating, which, to be honest, I am really quite happy about. Because leather was going to be a pain if it wasn't for the leather chicken. I wonder what other eggs there are. Okay, so these are the ones that I could craft. Alright. So what can the white ones do? It's pretty. I can get a light blue chicken, I can make a lime, pink, gray, light gray, silver. Oh, I can make an iron chicken with flint and bone white. Oh, I can actually try to breed this right now. Bone white and flint. your eggs in less than a minute. Do you guys count down save? Okay, they do, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put all you guys in there. Put you in here. Bone white, flint that I need. How do I breed chickens? On this. At hatchery. Those are baby chicks. Hmm. Chicken breeding. Apparently there's 36 different things I could do. I mean, they are loaded with seeds, so it's making me think I can do it, but maybe I need this. Which is 10 iron and 5 slabs. Maybe. I mean, I could try it. And see if that's the issue. I feel like this is a little bit bigger, because all of a sudden you can't see the top of it anymore. Oh well. Alright. So I need iron pieces. And unfortunately I have a severely low amount. But thankfully compressed gravel inside of the iron mesh has a high chance of iron. Pretty sure I just got a diamond too. Alright. Takes 4 pieces to make a single iron. There we go. Oh wait, I need another 9. I need 30. There we go, 36. I guess I'll just sift that down. Ooh, 3 diamonds. It's actually a pretty good turnout. Alright. Craft it onto that and smelt. Throw the extra pieces in here. What can I do with lead? A lot of stuff, actually. Also says I need just any 5 slabs, so these 5 will do. Now I just gotta wait for all the iron to cook. Crafted back down. That can be crafted back down, and bloop. This one I can just craft back down because I'm pretty sure this guy is stronger. that one back down and then just... Alright. There we go. A little bit more carrots, I suppose. Won't hurt it to have a little bit more. But there we go. And then put that back to the offhand. Okay, good. I can't throw it in there. Actually, can word for a moment that I could. Alright. Oh. I understand. So now let's see if the feeder is what I was missing. Like this chicken feeder. Stored seeds. I can store a lot of seeds in that. Oh, wow. This might also be something I'll have to, like, look up. Oh! That was by accident, but... Ender Lily. What the hell is an Ender Lily? I don't know. I can plant it. I can bone meal it. So like a... Do I have to spend a lot of bone meal on it? It's not wanting to grow. It might just be the wrong conditions for it. I got no clue how to make whatever that is grow. I can re-grab it. Maybe this one I need? A chicken feed to feed us as an alternate food source. But the pulp can just become paper. I can smelt this thing down to paper. And I can make wool. How do I make that? Okay, that's gonna be slightly expensive, but fine, I guess. Might be something that I won't even be able to use, to be honest. The fishes that have 1 minute per hour power mix more faster power isn't needed. First, sort and move your chickens around. Enjoy the chicken manure. Bone meal effect. So when it's faster, you can pipe seeds to the feeder. Add your chicken over a random time, placing a redstone lamp. Up to 3 blocks above the next one. Increase speed sitting on the egg, will also increase speed of hatching. Oh, I could just auto hatch an egg. That's cool. But Turn dirt and fertilizer into fertilizer and fertilize farmland and add as much water you can. Spray holds 300 millibuckets. Or 3,000, sorry. But I'm not seeing anything for breeding. Maybe at chickens? It will automatically collect items trees in my areas when provided hay. Just ask for data we can choose he was fret. Okay. Very funny. But this might actually be something I might invest in. I don't know. Oh, hey. You guys have grown up. Can I feed you seeds? Oh. What? Why does this work? Flint chicken, ink black. Those are the same damn chicks. Well, the hen house might actually be a good addition then. Let me go make one real quick. I need your manure. Give me your manure. Oh, wow. You're a failure. I'm sorry, that was a little harsh. Alright. Let's make that hen house, and that way I don't have to constantly collect. No, you just let the chickens run. Actually, it needs to go in the middle. I do not know what any of that means. Oh. Might have to like look this up later, because unless I can figure it out, I have no idea what any of that does. Is it just poor storage? Looks like it, to be honest. Still on a timer. Alright. Oh. Eventually I'll get it. But we're on the road to having infinite leather. Which is really nice. I can't throw this in there. What the? So this is practically its best use. Oh, okay. It's a worse version of the carrots and the potatoes. This might be able to go in there, to be honest. So I'm gonna check that now. It can at 5%. Oh my god, that's so not gonna be hopeful. I mean, it did pull the items in, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. It's too soon to tell. Damn, you're a failure. Okay. When provided with hay. Oh. Uh-oh. Alright. Bow time. Well. That works. Just shot right off the edge. I might as well get the other 4 so I can see what it does. Yeah, it's kind of a waste. Alright. So how much does this provide? Alright. Let's have it the hay and I just let it do its thing. Uh-huh. Are you breedable? You are now. Alright. It's corn kernels. Pumpkin seeds. Alright. Flint and bone white. Oh, crap. I just killed the red one. Okay. Nah, I get. That's fine, because I can make a backup real quick. I'm gonna make a least as much of the I lost my words. I'm just so upset by what happened. Nest, because I want this to actually become what I want it to become. Right here, newer guy. Okay, so it does pull in. That's cool. Two more. Alright. Let's see. What else could I do in the mean? Guess I could keep sorting my chests. That's this is why you don't kill the babies. That only has 14 seeds left in it. Oh my god. Alright, well I got another bone meal dirt too. Alright. Oh, it's only enough for one. Alright, I'm still 6 away. Do I have any spare bones anywhere? Probably not. I don't think any of these could give you bone meal either, so. Okay, check in these chests over here. Ooh, all that's growing up too. That's nice. Because I need that cactus green. I'm not seeing bone. Oh yeah, I need cactus green. So one of those I don't actually need. I know I need the black and the red. Need that. Don't need this guy. Put it there. That's your flint pen. Don't think I need this guy, so I'll put it back in that one. Alright. It's black, it's the log, and it's red and the green. So I'm gonna go over here. Just break these guys down here. Because I don't mind replacing the blocks. So that also means that when I replace them, I don't lose them. Alright, now I'm gonna go smelt up the cactus. Go. So now I can get green. We try to get a green. And not good. Alright. Well, that's fine. This one. Go another 4. It's actually going pretty slow now, unfortunately. Ooh, bones. Let's go. Alright, that's gonna help out a lot. Alright, that's brought 7. So now I'm only missing 2. Alright. That's done now, so I can get it green. And then I can go over here and boom. Oh, of course. And now I need another one. Nothing yet. Alright, well. Let's see. Maybe there's something else I could do in the meantime. Well, I could try to advance more into the Iron Era. Meantime. Let's go ahead and do that. Just get a whole bunch going, get into the Iron Era. Alright. Now, hopefully, I do not accidentally kill another chicken, because that was a little embarrassing. Am I really still able to hear that from all the way over there if I turn it back on? No. Okay, good. Still keeping it off. But still. That is across the map. And we have over a stack of iron bits, which means we have 16 chunks. Alright. Oh, wow. A lot of nickel, a lot of lapis, tons of coal, which I'm actually going to keep on me. A little bit of iron. 5 more diamonds, then we're up to 8. And so many iron pieces. That's crazy. Surely, alright, now that all that is gone, surely... Got bone meal, that's good at least. I can do that, drop that. I have enough for the final one to be able to craft this, and since I can sit on it to make the eggs hatch faster. That is going to take ages. Oh my god. Alright. I don't even think that log and black can breed together to make something. Let me look. Alright. Log. Good. Chicken. Breeding. Ink black to make string. Oh! So those two can actually. So green and red together? Log and flint makes coal. Lapis blue and log makes snowball. This breed with cocoa brown to get leather, and cocoa brown is red and green. Okay. So I'm not limited breeding. Please make what I want. Ink black. No. Wrong chicken. I know it's a 20% chance, but. Yeah, I feel like this is not gonna help. Oh, it's already at 15, so maybe it does. 16, so. It's very slow. Grab all this out of here. Because I'm going to try and make another one of those nest hatch. Actually, I probably don't need to make another one because once I get all the colors, then no, there's no point. I don't think this collects these. So I might only collect Minecraft items. So this, the actually useful item, is never going to get collected. That's fine. Alright. Oh, I have another stack of gravel. Oh. Alright. Now we're fully into the Iron Age. With obsidian, everything tool, diamond hammers, press stone hammers, which I could probably make into the. What did I just push? I pushed X and it opened this. What the? Okay. Another 2 minutes until another breed attempt. I'm gonna go down here. Yep, loot bag, that's what I thought. Looks like it's only one here. So, apple and lead. Alright. Used for the lead, I can make a leash upgrade. Allow some devices such as stones to bind excuse me. My apologies. This actually used to put animals on a leash, multiple animals, even odd. L menu for material costs. I do not know what L menu is. But, oh well. Cool, I guess. That's a very niche use. Oh well. How close is that green one? 39%. So it's a fail. Iron. They just gave me iron. What the hell? Okay, well, I guess I am also going to be hatching an iron egg. I fully was not expecting that. Oh. Minecraft just crashed. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties, please stand by. I don't know why the game just suddenly crashed, too. That was weird. Oh. Alright, hopefully that didn't lose a lot of progress. If it did, that's going to be very annoying. Just gotta wait for it to boot back up, and then we can get back into it. Once again, sorry about this. Let's just hope that it will come back online here in a moment. It's finishing up now, and then we'll be able to just load back up. And any moment now, it'll be done. Hurry up, Minecraft. Hurry up, Minecraft. Hurry up, please. I go. Alright. Put over to the other screen. And then organize Minecraft, please. Thank you. Alright. And let's get back into it. Loading terrain. Alright. Does not seem like we lost progress, which is really nice. I still have a little bit more time, so let's get the seeds ready. And I'll stand on this to help it hatch a little faster. While I'll wait for that to tick. Honestly, don't know why it decided to just crash like that. That was weird. But, oh. Alright. There's a 20% chance. Got the string chicken. Alright. Let's go. Now I'm gonna scoop. Scoop. Place you there. Place you there. Alright. Now I need to hatch a green, and I need to hatch a red, and I need to hatch this iron. All that's going, I also have to get whoop. I also have to get more of the wheat growing. And honestly, I feel like maybe getting rid of these horses will be a good thing. Sorry guys, look away. Look away from the slaughter. It's fine. Everything is fine. The horses went to a world where there was actual land to transport. Sorry. Violent cough there. But now we got leather. We got 2 pieces of it actually. So I can make more mulch. We go over here, do this, 2 knife handles with 2 knives to make this. Put that in there. Put that. And dice it up. And there. That there. Alright. So yes, that was a long time. But thankfully this will hopefully speed up the process. And this is gonna be hatching soon, so I'm just gonna stand on it like this, so that way it'll hatch a little faster. Then get this thrown on it, and then I can have this. Because I want to get the red one going so we can get closer and closer to actually finishing up. White. This one I can just crap down. More manure. More manure. Log chicken with a lot of good stats, but nothing. Alright. Ooh, this one's very close to being done, but I am going to very quickly this on a few very specific plots to get maximum wheat return. I have 11 out of 27. I know this to hurry up. Alright. Almost done. And it'll be this one's turn. Come on. There we go. And red chicken. Now it'll feed off that. That will feed off this as well. Failed flint egg. Alright. I do not want to lose this egg. So I'm going to put it in here. And this should be done, yep. So that's another good set to use on this back here. Throw that in there. Throw that. Throw that. And so I'll feed a little bit. We're doing this. Alright. That's all the carrots. It's 44 more. Throw another stack of that in there. And there we go. A lot of eggs. Maybe we'll it doesn't say that I can smelt them, but I feel like since I can make boiled eggs, I can smelt these guys, but maybe not. No. Okay. A lot of food, though. But that makes sense since they're a food-based compost. Oh. Interesting. I can turn future generations of chickens into dirt. That's a little bit messed up. Eh. Alright, then I got another 6. It's another 4, so that brings the total up to 15, I believe. Yep. Another piece of dirt that I can throw into here now. Use another piece of farmland and another wheat I can place. The reason why I'm doing it like this is because these, well, actually, I can do this as well. But all these have a small chance to fall. While over here it doesn't matter, over here it does. Because of that, I want to make sure that whatever I plant, I have a 100% chance of getting all of the return. Not a chance to get some of the return. Okay. Tier 2. Because those, like, that's the breeding tier it's at. Because I can now only breed tier 2s. Maybe. More chicken manure in there. More in here. Here, the white, which I'm just gonna crack down. And we'll see what this guy gives. Ooh, it is manure, so that was a good weight. Alright. That. Only 2. Okay. That was fine, because all that was low anyway. 17 more. Start that up. Get all this in there. And get some more carrots. And then run all the way back. Grab the used knife. There we go. And then once that one changes, I got this to put in. Another full stack. You guys use slave manure. Cool. Unfortunately, this guy is still too far away. And only 3 manure. Which is fine because boom, boom, and almost a 3rd boom. I feel like I should make more of these compost bins. But oh well. Oh. Spider grew up. Next egg in 19 minutes? Oh. Good lord. Better to be like a powerful egg. I am going over here to do the sling in here. And this is taking a sweet, sweet time. I wish I could like check to see its current progress. Like how on this I can see like growth 14. Or over here, growing cooldown. Alright. Manure, that's good. Flint chicken, that's 1 on everything. Oh, got bone as well. See, I might actually get more of these guys, because these guys will give me a bone meal in return. Which can be used to create either more of them, or have a second chance of being able to do that. So I feel like that might be a good investment to do as well. Alright, there we go. More of that in there. This, and go absolutely to town. Alright. Another 48. So it seems like 1 stack gives me 48, which is about a stack and a half, I believe. Yep. Exactly, too. Oh, I got more pigs. Give. Throw in the chest. This guy's almost done. Ooh, you grew up. Alright, that's nice. Log chicken from the ink black. Interesting. Got some more manure, nice. Manure. One like chicken egg. Manure and nothing. Alright. Oh, I had someone there. Did not realize I had. Love it when it has a full growth like that. Alright, let's see. What are we at? 26, I need one more. One more and I'll be good. So need 7 of these. Oh. That might be enough to get me the one more. Let's go. That was a good roll too. Alright. Then I got this. I'm gonna go over here and place it there next to ink black. 87%. So that is, this guy's almost done. And I can start trying to get the cocoa. The cocoa brown. Which I guess I could have just crafted and skipped the entire step, but oh well. Wanted to experiment with all this. Oh. Alright. We got the red chicken, so now it's time to throw in the iron chicken. Yeah, that hatching. Alright, I need you to grow up, buddy. faster you grow up, the better. Go overload them with seeds real quick. There we go. Though, because I noticed that it will do less and less time each time. So, I'll just go ahead and wait while the last 3 minutes. Ooh, and just took a look at the time, and it seems like I am fully out of time now. I'd like to, I'm just going to go ahead and clear this out real quick. Alright. And you're almost there, so we'll let the red one grow up, and then we'll breed the two. We'll see if we can get a brown, and if we do, then string and brown can hopefully make leather. I won't have to worry about constantly running out of leather. Actually, sag mill. How do I make this? Machine chassis, basic capacitor. This could be in the very far future, but I do not know. Oh, alright, there we go. Brown? Cocoa brown? Hey, let's go. Alright, scoop you up. Put you in there. Scoop you up. I'm gonna put you in this spot. But there we go. And now I got these two. And this one will go into the next one that I make. Because infinite free iron. Yes, please. Alright, but that is just gonna do it for now. Oh wow, this one's taking, that one's not gonna be done real fast. But anyway, I will see you all in the next one. Thank you all for tuning in onto the stream. I stream every Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, so maybe I'll catch you all on the next stream. And if not, and you guys are on YouTube, link to Twitch is down in the description. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching and tuning in. See you all next time. And also, sorry about the whole Minecraft crashing. I still don't know what that was about. Ooh, chicken liver and pumpkin. Anyway, alright. Talk to you all later. See ya. Have a good night, or good morning, or good day, or good evening. Have a good next week. See you next time. Take care.